Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tim and welcome to the solution video to the first procedural puzzles. And thank you guys so much. The response to this thing has been way beyond anything that I was hoping for. I was thinking, all right, maybe I'm gonna get like 5 entries or something, and the first winning video is gonna take like 1 or 2 days. But the winner was there within 30 minutes, so that was really fast. And I'm actually interviewing the winners in this video. I figured it would be cool. Like I want to make this a community thing, so I figured let's just do a call with Simon Fiedler and Bastian Schiffer, who teamed up to make the winning solution, and they were the first to send it in. They share an office together, and they happened to just see the tweet right when it went live, so they just jumped on the problem to solve it. And they were the first, and I sent them $50 worth of Bitcoin, which they can use to buy some beers or something else. So that was all good fun. And also, it was so much fun to see everybody sending in a solution. Every single one of them has been quite different. And like I mentioned in my video, where I said like I might be just stupid and overthinking this, I guess I was, because there were so many solutions that were way better and way simpler than what I was doing. Of course, my way of working was of course a little bit different, because I took a problem that I had in production and then I rolled it into a puzzle. So my solution was already made before I made the puzzle, of course. And I'm also going to cover the problem which this came from in this video, so you can actually see a production scenario in which something like this would come up. So that's going to be fun. So first, let's just dive into the interview with Simon Fiedler and Bastian Schiffer to see what they have to say about their about the challenge, some ideas that they have. Going to be good fun. And then we're going to dive into my own solution for this. Then we're going to have a look at some of the solutions that were sent in. Again, you can find all of those, my own solution, plus all of the solutions that were sent in, with a link in the description. If yours is not there, if you send something in and yours is not there, send me a message, because I got so many responses all over different social media platforms that there might be a few that I just forgot to include in the folder. So if you don't see your own, send me a message and I will still include it. But without further ado, let's just dive into the
recording. All right. Now theoretically we should be recording, so that's so good. But thanks. Right. Yeah. So I guess let's just start. So thanks for jumping on a quick call. Like I figured, like the whole procedural puzzles thing, I had like so many entries and a lot of people seem to like it. So I figured it would be cool to sort of do just a short sort of interview thing with the winners. So did you already spend your Bitcoin on beers, or did they survive?
Not yet.
Weekend? No?
We're still deciding if we want to cash out or what to do with the Bitcoins.
Oh, I guess we will keep it until we meet Tim next time at FMX or something like that.
And then maybe we can buy even more beers or less, depending on how it all goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to just do a quick thing about this whole thing, because you guys were like super quick with sending in the solution, and I actually didn't expect people to be this quick, like just sending something in. I was also really overthinking the whole problem that I set up, so that was quite interesting. So like, what made you even participate, and how did you come up with a solution this quick? Because you guys were teaming up, I guess. So how did you do all of that? And tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, usually Basti and I sit in the same office. Not right now, but usually we do. And I think it was just good timing. I was browsing Twitter, and I guess exactly at that moment you tweeted about this whole thing, which was a fantastic idea. And I also knew that Bastian had some free time. And so I leaned over and asked through the door if he wants to take a look at this. And I must say the whole contest thing then was a bit unfair, since we were 2 people. But we were just using our 2 brains and try to solve this quickly. And so I guess it was just good timing.
Yeah, I had some people say that like, maybe next time you should pre-announce it or have like multiple categories or something, because now it was like, all right, whoever sees the sees the post the first can get going the first, I guess. But it was really interesting to see all of the because you guys did it way different than I did. I had some really weird because like when you have to like group the cone and the thing, and you guys just use a boolean to just merge it up so you can use the connectivity, which is of course just a very simple solution to do that. I had a very convoluted thing of like making an array with the neighboring points and then like do it and then creating a random thing, blah blah blah. Well, you'll see later in the video here, but it was all way convoluted what I was doing. But that was kind of the point also of this, of like just having a lot of people having a go at the same thing, and then apparently there's a lot of just very like a lot of different solutions, which is just really cool. Cool to see, because mine is not the best one, to be honest. So that was
I think one of the challenges this time was to come up with a quick solution, right? So usually we're kind of thoroughly analyzing the problem, but for this one, Simon came over, and I think the main point was to get a super quick thing going. So I mean, of course, you could build more elaborate setups, but for this one, we wanted to be fast, so we were going through it quite fast, and so that was the main challenge, I think.
And you had it in like 30 minutes or something, right? I don't remember how long it was, but it was like
it took us like 10-15 minutes, but then we had to upload and stuff. And
sure. Because do you have like, because I think keep this going and do more of these challenges later at some point, because like a lot of people seem to I've had like 25 entries or 30 entries, something like really a lot more. Yeah, really a lot, because I thought maybe I'll get 5 and that's it, but it was like it's a lot more.
It's super nice, and I think everyone likes a good challenge.
Yeah.
So I think it was a really good puzzle to solve.
Yeah, what? Because like, do you guys have any ideas of like what I could do next time? Because I was thinking maybe I could do like 2 categories of maybe do one with like the fewest nodes, or the one that processes the fastest, or something like that. Like, if you have any ideas, like what do you think would be fun for like a future iteration of this?
Yeah, I guess optimizing stuff is always a big part in when you have jobs. The cool thing about this procedural puzzles idea, I think, is that it's a little thing. When there's other 3D competitions out there, you usually don't have the time to participate. You know, when you have to create a whole artwork or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So the idea of those puzzles where you have like one little thing. I mean, we also passed it over to another colleague of us from our office, and he just also did his way. And it was super interesting just to see those different ideas. So making a setup maybe which has to be the most performant one in the end could be super interesting. If you have something, I mean, you have to find the challenge then, but in the end you can always see how fast it cooks, but that maybe depends also on the machine, but you can test everything on your machine then or something like that.
Yeah, because that will be difficult, because if you have something that's like super well threaded, then it might cook better on like a thread ripper. But if you have something that like that you make on your own super high clock speed thing, which has a lot of single threaded nodes, it might perform well there, but not on a. So that might be a little bit more difficult, but
we were also thinking in the office. Actually, we talked about that. What else you could do with that? And there were super crazy ideas, which would be hard to have in the competition, like building something without seeing the viewport, for example. You only have your nodes.
Oh, so that you're like, so you cannot look at your screen, and you just do like tab, you type it out, type it out.
No, you could look at your screen, but you could close the viewport so that you only have the node tree and the geometry spreadsheet, for example.
That will be fun.
It doesn't really make sense in a real world scenario, but could be funny.
That will be fun. It would be difficult to sort of to check if people are actually doing that, but the concept itself is like pretty cool to see something like that. I guess as long as it's a fun challenge, and I guess you could do something like that, and like as long as there's no big prize reward or anything, then people would just do it for fun. And I guess you could cheat, but that would be a little bit lame. But that idea itself is pretty is pretty interesting. So going forward, like if you also, because I know you also do YouTube videos and stuff, or don't you, like do you still do those often? Like I haven't checked your Vimeo
I did a few things for the Entagma guys. Since
yeah,
I had so much
I saw
stuff to
one a
do
while
here.
ago.
Yeah, so this is most convenient for me at the moment. I'm good friends with the two guys, so I guess this will happen in the near future again. We'll see. Yeah.
But like if you ever do one, you should also do a procedural puzzle, and we can make it the whole thing.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, would be cool. Because that's also because I'm trying. I hope that more people will start doing this, because I mean I can come up with some puzzles, but of course I'm one guy, and it's going to be difficult to come up with new things every now and then. Because this was a production sort of thing that I just ran into while doing something. But like the more people participate, I guess, the more interesting it's gonna be eventually. But at least the first one performed well, so I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, I guess, do you have like anything more to add, like stuff that you would wanna see or wanna try, or ideas or something like that? Or you as well, Bastian? You're being silent, the silent observer.
Well, I mean, no, I do have to say I really like the challenge, so I'm looking forward to more challenges. And yeah, I mean, it definitely, like I said, everyone likes a good challenge. I think everyone who's doing Houdini, because as you said, it's always about puzzle solving, right? And challenges. So yeah, I think it's really nice. And I think, yeah, for upcoming ones, maybe focus. Although, like sometimes in productions, you do have very little time. So sometimes you do have to be very pragmatic about it and come up with a quick solution. But more often than not, I think it's more about that the asset is performing well. So maybe, yeah, if you have a bit more time to optimize it, I think that would be also
Yeah.
a
Okay.
good
So
thing to...
yeah. So the next one might you prefer a more sort of optimization type challenge of like use.
Well, I mean, I do have to say it was quite thrilling to do it, to be the first one. But then I think more often than not, usually you have to make sure that it works quite well. And as Simon said, so if it cooks like a very long time, it's not very easy or convenient to work with, right? So I think one thing would be to kind of maybe on your side measure it and kind of compare what's an efficient solution, maybe. So because that's also usually a constraint to come up with a workable solution, right?
Yeah, there was even with this one a very big difference. Like I had a couple of files sent in that took like 15 seconds to cook. So there was unloaded, but like most of the ones were like quite fast, because there's not that much you can do here to make it really slow. But yeah, that's cool idea. So you'll just have to think about what I'm gonna do with the next one. But if you come up with more ideas, I guess also the people watching this, like, leave a comment, like stuff like that. But yeah, thanks so much for just jumping on this quick call. Just figured it would be fun to do an interview with the winners, and hopefully we can have a beer from your Bitcoin winnings whenever we meet next time. Maybe have a mix next year or something like that. Hopefully, as long as stuff doesn't keep getting cancelled all over the place. But fingers crossed that next year that we can do FMX again. All right. Well, thanks for jumping on. Was a pleasure. I'll leave you to your work today, and until next time.
Great.
All right.
Yo.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so here is my own solution that we're gonna talk about. And after seeing a whole bunch of the other solutions, mine's actually a little bit convoluted. There's like the response to this whole thing has been great, and I've seen so many files from all you guys, and all of the files again are in the description, so you can download all of them. And a lot of them are a lot better than my own. So, but I'm still gonna show you my. My file. Keep in mind that, of course, my own was made based on a problem in a project that I ran into a while ago. I'm gonna actually show you what it was actually, what this thing was actually for in a little bit. So I'll first do the tutorial and then I'll show you what the actual problem was about. The interesting thing is that the actual problem actually didn't have like the colors that you could blast away with. So I saw like a lot of people using the colors to blast these away, and I actually assigned these colors at the end to try to make it more difficult, but I was stupid enough to do a pure white color on the tubes. So most of you used the pure white color to blast away the tubes. Anyway, let's dive into my own solution. So I'm going to talk you through a little bit. So I recorded this first and I did a full tutorial, but then I figured that was a little bit long. So I figured it might make more sense to just walk you through this. Right. So geometry is coming in. Then we're doing connectivity here. So this is going to check if pieces are connected. It's going to assign an attribute from 0 to 584. So it means there's 584 unique pieces. Then I am actually personally blasting away the tubes here by measuring them. But again, the easier way would have probably been to say something like if at cd .x equals 1, or it's not equal 1, remove point. And then you would also be left with just the tubes because they are pure white. Anyway, what I ended up doing is I ended up measuring the volume. So the volume here will measure the volume of a piece. And again, the tubes are the biggest, so they will have the biggest volume. Then I am assembling them just so it makes them easier to select. And then I can sort of just do a point wrangle to just delete them based on the points. So I'm promoting and by the way, the measuring here happens per piece, so that's why we need the connectivity. Promoting it to point, so now the volume here is going to be on the points, and then I can say call by volume, and I can say, right, if the volume is bigger than a certain thing, then we are deleting them. So here we just have these elements, and then here we have these things. And then I am doing something here, and there's been a whole bunch of interesting solutions to why, how to tackle this problem. And it looks like my solution is actually a little bit more like I approach this way too difficult. Like I went to overcome some of the hip, and that's why I really like doing like this. This challenge was really educational for myself as well, because I was really overthinking some of these things. So what I was doing here, I was creating an array, near points array. So my idea was that, all right, all of these things are quite, they're spread relatively far apart, but these pieces are always sort of close together. So I was doing a near points function, which will create an array for these things. So you get an array here, and I can visualize that if I want here. So you get an array with the nearest points. So again, we'd have an array with those two things together. Then inside the array, I'm generating a random variable, and this is actually a little bit hacky, because this will probably break if you do this with a couple thousand points, but it works fine for like this amount of points. So I'm creating a holding variable here called x, and then doing a random function based on the first part of the array, and then plus the second part of the array. And then I'm fitting that between 0 and a random number, and then I'm casting it to an integer. And then I get an attribute called branch, which is going to be and then I'm promoting that here to primitive. And that's here a unique ID. So the reason why this works is, and you might think like, all right, that's weird. Well, if you have 1 point in an array, let's say we look at this thing. Let's do delete, unselected. Right, so let's say we have this array here. So we have 112 and 113. So 112 plus 113 equals 225. And then 113 plus 112 equals also 225. So if you randomize both if you do the same, if you do a random function on either of those two, you get the same random thing between 0 and 1. Then you just fit it, then you rent it, and then you're left with a unique ID. Again, if this were to be thousands of points, this would probably break because you would get overlaps. But over here, this works. And I've also seen some people do a similar approach here, but they had some extra filtering steps to make sure that you cannot get overlaps. But again, I didn't do that because I mean, it worked fine in this scenario. But again, if you were to build a tool, then it might be good to do something like this. Anyway, I'm left now here with a unique branch ID. And then because we have a unique branch ID, I can do a for each loop. So normally I couldn't do a for each loop, because if I were to do a for each loop, then it would run over sort of each individual small piece. Let me just zoom out a little bit real quick. So if I were to do it on, let's do another one with connectivity for each connect piece. All right, there we go. So if you would normally do it, it would do it on sort of each separate pass, and we also need the stick, right? But because we are doing it in here, because we are creating a new attribute to ramp over here, which is unique for each group here. So if I do it like that, you can see branch ID is the same for both those pieces. So I can do for each loop there. So then we're inside of for each loop, and we have these things. All right. Next up here, we'll get to this volume thing in a little bit. Let's first look at this. So in order to be able to get the angle, what I ended up doing is I blast away the geometry here. So just keep these points like you see here. And we're gonna go into another wrangle here, and I'm loading in the position of these 2 points. And then I'm saying, all right, the normal should be P0 minus P1. So that's going to evaluate to something like this. You can see it's different direction for both those. Anyway, blasting away one. And in this, and that would be normally be the point that you want to copy over. But you see over here, this is not correct. All right. Then we're branching off, and this is quite hacky, but this is a technique that I've used before, and it's a very hacky way. And those of you that have seen more of my tutorials know I sometimes have sort of weird hacky techniques that do end up working. But what I'm doing here is first I am assembling these, right? I am measuring the volume here. You can see here volume. Then I can isolate the stick based on the volume, similar to what I did with the sticks before. Then I'm unpacking them. And again, like this will work on both instances with the sphere and with the cone, because both those volumes are bigger than the stick here. And then converting it to a line. And then after we convert it to a line, we can use a fuse. You can see if we just fuse it enough, end up with a line. And then blasting away a point here, and we're left with just 0.0, which is the one over there. And over here, right, so this is the point that we're gonna, this is the point that we're gonna be copying to. So that's the point that's on the beginning part here of the stick. Right, so this volume thing here is being transferred to this other point where we actually generate the normal. And because when it does sort of this thing here, this gives a different result if it's the sphere or if it's the cone. So essentially what I'm just doing is that if the volume is above this, that means it's gonna be the different geometry, so not the sphere, not the cone. Then it's gonna swap the vector around so that we're always left with sort of the correct vector. And then we're copying the teapot on there. So you can, if I were to remove this thing, you see, then it's gonna be copied the wrong way. But if I were to, let me just do single pass here. One with where it's gonna be different. So here's one with the cone. Over here, it's not gonna matter because it's the other one. Because over at this one, the point that's being capped is actually the correct point. So the thing is gonna be the right direction. Right. And you can see actually my angle here is a little bit off. To be honest, probably is because the base geo. So there's actually people who have done a better job here. Right, let's turn it off. So then we're doing that, and then we're just merging it back in, and then we have our solved puzzle. I'm gonna walk you through a couple of the send in files, but you can check out all of the send in files, including my own here. You can check everything in the solutions folder in the description, and there were so many more than I initially thought. Was like I was hoping like if we get to 5, I'm gonna be happy, but there's so many more. So thanks everybody for sending it in. Again, if I forgot to put yours there, I just maybe overlooked it because I've been getting so many messages on different platforms with downloads, and I wasn't always behind the computer, so when I got them, so hopefully I have downloaded and included them all. But if I forgot one, if I forgot yours, please let me know, and then I will still include it. So anyway, with this sort of solution out of the way, as you can see, this is the this is the solution. Well, at least a solution, but as it seems like with all the other files, there's dozens solutions. Now, let me just very quickly jump into a scenario where this is actually used in a production. So then you kind of know where this sort of comes from, because it might look like a very sort of random generic problem, but it's not. So let me just show you the where this was actually used. All right, so we're here inside of Houdini, and you might recognize this plant because the actual problem that from this thing was actually from Sassy Snacks, which you've seen, and that's fortunate because now I can actually talk about this. Else I couldn't have shown this if this wasn't something that was out yet. But in the Sassy Snacks demo that I did, there's these plants in the beginning that have raindrops falling on them. Those are these plants, which are Megascans plants, and again, like I'm developing a full course for this demo shot, which is shaping up really nice and gonna be out pretty soon. So that's going to be quite exciting. So okay, stay on the lookout for that. But there are these Megascans assets, and these are plants, and these are textured plants. And the thing is with these textured plants here is that they have a texture on them, and those are sort of carefully created textures where the leaf sort of hits the stem. There's actually a sort of a transition area in the texture. So you cannot just say, all right, I'll remove the leaves and I'll just replace the leaves with my simulated leaves, which are those things which have like a droplet falling on them. So the thing there is that you can either remove this, like you can either replace these leaves completely manually, and that's actually what I did with my original shot for the course. I changed it up a little bit to do it a different way, and that's where sort of this puzzle thing actually came from. Because what I'm doing here is like I am actually manually selecting some leaves here that I want to sort of replace, but aside from that, the setup is pretty much the same. So we have one of the leaves coming in, then we have a point here that's creating a normal, and I am actually rounding to integer the normal here, so we just have a straight line instead of actually properly computing the angle. Because of course I'm copying a leaf here, and there's a raindrop falling on it, so we don't want it to fall from the side. But it's essentially the same sort of solution here, where like I'm fusing it to be a like to a thing. Then we're left with a line, and we're copying the normal there. Then setting some stuff with the p-scales. Of course, didn't need to do that for the actual shot. Then you do this. Then you're left with a plant with, well, at least with a whole bunch of leaves with rain falling on them. And then of course you do this sort of time offsetting thing, and then you have this thing. And like I've shown some of this stuff in my talk about the demo shot. So that's actually what this particular thing actually came from, which is good because now I can actually show this, and this will probably make more now the puzzle hopefully also makes more sense why you would want to use something like this in a production scenario. So it's like something like this, even though it's a puzzle on sort of simple shapes, is actually practice for a production scenario, because you would try to come up with something like this if you were to tackle a problem like this, for example. So yeah, that's what it's from. All right, so let's just walk through some of the submissions together. Starting with the one from Simon Fiedler and Bastian Schiffer. Because like every single submission has been completely different from my own, and like I knew beforehand that they were all going to be very different, but it's still really cool to see so many submissions and every single one is completely different. And it was really cool to see so many of you guys like submit files, and was like really cool to see. So like I'm really excited to do more of these. Like the response was been great. So their submission here, I know we already talked a little bit about it, but let's just walk through it again. So yeah, they are just grouping stuff here by the sticks by the color, and again, that's what I mentioned. Like I shouldn't have given them a perfectly white color. That was on me. Like that made the whole thing a lot easier to do. I was expecting people to do some stuff with just measuring and stuff, but hey, this works. And then they actually used a boolean to sort of unionize all of this stuff together, which again just makes them one single piece, which is perfectly fine, because like normally they're not one single piece, which is of course a lot easier solution than what I did with my array and then looking at the near points. But again, there's so many ways to do things. And you can see how just like you get to the exact same result by just using one node here. So it's like, yeah, just very, very cool. And then they're doing a regular for each loop here, of course. And then they're doing polyfill, and then they're blasting away patch, which I guess this is even easier than my than the thing I did with the fuse. And then let's see what they're doing here. Primitive position, and then primitive normal, primitive color, and then I guess, yeah, because you get them from this thing, so they're going to be pointing in that direction. So if you then get the primitive normal and write it out to point, you get that direction, and then you just simply copy to it, and then you're done. So pretty clean solution, pretty cool, and they were really quick with that. So congrats to them on winning the $50 worth of Bitcoin, which I've sent out. And since it was a Friday, I'm sure I'm sure they've used it to drink some nice cold beers. So free beers for them. Let's open another one. If I mispronounce any of these, Afal Konxa Procedural Puzzles, Advanced GeoSwapping. Let's open that one. Let's have a look. I've already looked through most of these, but I haven't gone completely into it. So you can see very similar solution here, also with the color. And then here we have a different thing, some extract centroid, and then here winding number. I've actually never used this node before. It's interesting to see. Not even sure what it completely does. That's cool. Like this, like I guess like you're learning new stuff here. So like I don't know what the winding number things does, but like here in the end, same result. Let's open up another one. I mean, Benjamin Lemoine. I don't know. All right, so here we have one. You can already tell it is going to be a very different solution because you can see this takes quite a long time to cook. All right, so again, grouping by the he's grouping by the color, but he's first promoting into detail. This is interesting. Then here, what is he doing here? Polyfill. I guess that's gonna fill the. That's gonna fill the backside. Remesh. Oh, he's actually remeshing everything. All right. I guess that's also gonna not the fastest thing. Then he is transfer. I'm not sure why he's doing the remesh thing here. I guess because remesh grid here is gonna make one mesh out of it. Okay. So he's first making it one. So similar to what Simon and Bastian did with the boolean to make it one mesh. He's using this thing, which essentially is just using VDB meshing, and then a class, and then essentially you're left with the same thing because then you can transfer the class there, and then like these are still disconnected, but you're gonna have a class attribute here that's gonna be the same for these things. So that's another interesting take. All right, so here we have this thing, and then distance from geometry. All right, so he's measuring the distance from geometry there. Here thing, let's see, group name, top, mask. All right, not completely sure what's happening there. Let's have a look. All right, so that's grouping the edges there. Extract centroid. All right, that's gonna extract the centroid thing. Okay, and then here we are left with a curve. That's interesting. Yeah, so he extracts the centroid pieces from each of those things, and then draws a line. All right, so it's a different way to draw a line there. And then all right, so here he's writing that out to the geometry. All right, and then here, so here we have the thing in match size, copying the attribute, match the axis. But again, like this, so this also works. This is a little bit slower, because as you could see, this took a little bit to cook. Like if I were to go to the cache manager. So like I think I might if I do a future one, I might do a couple of different categories of like maybe like use the least amount of nodes, or like have it be the fastest to cook or whatever. As you can see, like this one takes a little bit of time to cook, but it gets to the same solution. So I mean, it works, right? But again, those are like if you're doing this in production, you probably want to build a setup. Maybe it's going to be faster. Oh, let's have a look at one or two more. Like I'm not gonna do oh, here's another one that's going to be slow to cook. Something with intersection analysis there, which is not the fastest node. But you can see already like every solution has been slightly different. Definitely slow this one. All right. So here he's measuring. All right, so he's actually doing the same thing that I did with measuring. It's actually what I kind of intended people to do. But of course I was stupid enough, like I mentioned, to put the color in there. And then he's doing here unshared edge group. And he's gonna polyfill and then not the patch, right? So yeah, a lot of people have been doing that thing. Whole bunch of for each loops here. All right, so we get this thing. And all right, so he's somewhat using the same trick here. So he's scaling this thing down and then fusing it, so it's only 1 point remains. And then he's adding it. And then intersection analysis here to get a proper normal direction. And similar solution to what I had with, but I did it with the sort of volume thing here. At least that's what I'm getting from it, from just reading this. Of course, this is like, I haven't completely gone through these files no by no, but this seems like something similar that I did. So it's just checking for which geometry it is, and then it's doing here the position 0 minus position 1 or position 1 minus position 0. That's exactly what I was doing in mine as well. But again, it's in a sort of a different way here. So this is somewhat similar to what I was doing, but with a couple more for each lobes, and here's some slower node. All right, let's check one more, and then I say you can do your own thing. I'm gonna check Johan's one because I know Johan, he's a cool guy. All right, yeah, I need to probably right. So let's open Johan's one. Here we go. Because he also had something that was similar to mine, but he did a little bit more clean. All right, let's have a look. All right, so here he's splitting them out by, not by color, but by p-scale. Again, I probably, including p-scale was probably stupid of me to do. Well, not stupid, but it was making it easier, which is fine. All right, so he's also he's creating an array here, near point array, and then he's creating pairs here. Again, like he's doing this a little bit more cleanly than I did, because mine will have, if you have a lot of points, mine would break down, but it worked in this scenario. So this is a little bit more clean. I should probably do my other desktop so I can actually show the spreadsheet. So then we have this thing, measuring volume, split. And again, that's very similar to what I did. I basically did the same thing. So we have this thing, and then he is doing get b box. So you get a box from that thing. He's measuring the area, and then he's blasting away these parts, p-scaling them down, and then fusing them. So more people are using the fuse, but so this is sort of a combination of like my stuff that I did and some other people. You can see every single one here has been a little bit different. And then he's doing the copying to points after the whole thing, and then merging it in, and voila, also the same thing. So you can see so many cool solutions to the same problem. It's really cool to see how different everybody is handling this. Alright, so that was the whole solution video. Hope you enjoyed the entire thing, the interview with the winners. I thought it was pretty cool to actually talk to them. Hope you enjoyed my own solution, even though it was a little bit convoluted compared to some of the others. Again, you can find all of those files with the link in the description. I've put everything in there. If you have ideas for a future puzzle, like if you maybe run into an own problem of yourself, like do a procedural puzzle yourself. If you don't want to do one, if you just have a cool idea of like a specific puzzle, you can even like send me one yourself. I'll try to solve it, and I can do a procedural puzzle recording of it if you don't want to record something yourself. If you have just general ideas, like leave a comment on what I can do with this series. Again, I'm still thinking about how I can release these in the future, because I also had some comments of people who said like, alright, like I want to participate, but there was already I didn't even see the video until like a couple of hours after it was released, and then there was already so many solutions that I didn't even bother. So like, I think maybe next time I'll do like a YouTube premiere thing, so there's like a specific time that the thing is gonna go live. Like, I don't know how it's gonna go yet, but at least the response to this whole thing was great. So thanks everybody for participating. You can still send in solutions. I'll just keep adding them to the solutions folder. So like, if you have your own solutions, if you come up with like maybe some really interesting way to solve it, like just send it over. I'll put it in. Like, I want to just keep growing these folders. It doesn't mean that now that the solution video is live that you cannot keep sending stuff in. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. But don't forget to like and subscribe, etc. Okay, bye.